Hello. Yes, we welcome you back to PSSB, Physical Sciences, Silver Bullet, and it's me, Richard, here. The question says that consider the graph below of voltage or PD versus current for a given wire. Okay. Yes. And the first question says that state which factor should be maintained constant during this experiment. What factor should be maintained constant? The factor is temperature. Okay. So then comes this question. It says that what does the graph suggest about the relationship between potential difference and current? Explain your answer. Okay. Okay, what do we see? We are seeing a straight line. Okay, through even the origin. And what does the straight line mean? A straight line with non-zero slope. It means that whatever is here, which is now potential difference, is proportional to whatever is here, which is the current. So that's what the graph suggests, that potential difference is directly proportional to current. So that is it. And what is the explanation? The explanation is that the graph is a straight line with non-zero slope. Yeah. Then comes this question. It says that what does the slope of the graph represent? Okay. Okay, here the slope represents the resistance of the conductor. Okay. And they said prove or explain using Ohm's law. Yeah, so how do we prove this? That the slope represents the resistance of the conductor. Here, what we do, we go through Ohm's law, and we know that from Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. Okay. So what does that mean? That R is equal to V over I. But we know that the slope for the graph is change in Y over change in X. So what is change in Y is V. What's change in X is I. And we have to remember that V over I is R. And we have V over I this side. What is our conclusion? That it is R. And that's the proof. Then we come to this question. It says that state what happens to the slope when, okay, the answer should be increase, decrease, or remain the same. Okay. When length of conductor increases. Answer is it will increase. If I may ask, what's the reason? Okay, we need to remember that slope represents the resistance of the conductor. And we know that the longer the conductor, the higher is the resistance. So the slope will increase. So then comes this question. It says cross-section area was increased. So what happens to the slope when the cross-section area was increased? Answer is decrease. Why? Because increase in cross-section area of the conductor decreases the resistance, and the slope represents the resistance. So temperature, what happens to the slope when the temperature of the wire was increased? Answer is increase, because when temperature increases, resistance increases. And we have to remember that the slope represents resistance. Here, then comes this question. It says that state whether the wire under consideration is ohmic or non-ohmic. Explain your answer. Okay, yes, this wire we are looking at, is it ohmic or non-ohmic? The answer is ohmic. Why? What is the reason for choosing ohmic? The reason is that according to the graph, PD, or potential difference, is proportional to I, and that's Ohm's law. So you are going to say PD, or voltage, is directly proportional to current. Why do we say that? Because it's a straight line. Because it is a straight line, a graph with non-zero a gradient or slope. So that's that. So then comes this question. It says that calculate the resistance of the conductor using information from the graph. Okay, what's the resistance of this wire? We have to remember that resistance is equal to V over I. That is according to Ohm's law. But we have to remember that slope of the graph is change in y over change in x. Change in y is v over I. And what is change in y? Here you can take from here. And if you take from there, this figure becomes our V2, and this figure here becomes our V1. So what do we do here? If this is changing y, we are going to say V1, V2 minus V1. Even this one, we can take change in current, which is going to be I2 minus I1. So what is V2? V2 is 80 from the triangle I've chosen minus 0. And what is I2? I2 is 6 minus 0. What you get out of that is going to be our slope. So from here, we are going to have 80 over 6, which comes to 13.33 watt ohm. And with that, I would like to thank you for your time. The channel is PSSB with me, Richard, here. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, to comment, to like, to share. We are simply the best. See you then. Bye-bye.